in the fall. I was with another gentleman. So tonight, my name is John Christian, Director of HR. I apologize, I have my back to you guys. I'll try to talk sideways if I can a little bit so I can see you at home. For a company named Nisivoccia. Hard to say, but fun to be with. So last time we did this, we had a presentation. I think we kind of put everybody to sleep. So we decided this time to not do a presentation, to just do it more kind of ad lib as we're here. So I'm privileged this evening to have two of my colleagues, Steve and Justin Shortridge. And some of you may recognize Justin. Steve's too old, but Justin, he graduated last year from FDU. Steve graduated in 2007 from FDU.
I'm sorry, 12.
Also went to graduate school, right?
Yes.
Here too,
I did the 150 building here.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be important for them to come because they've got real life FDU experience. They can really help you understand what does an FDU graduate do. Justin just started with us, as you can tell, and Steve's been with us for a little while. So it's kind of two areas of exploration. So again, I encourage you to ask questions. We're here for you guys, right? Not for us. This is for you guys to get knowledge and to kind of understand things and try to answer burning questions that you may have out there. So after a little bit of an advertisement, so a little bit about Nisivoccia. We're about to celebrate our 50th anniversary. The firm was founded in, I think it was 1970, so those numbers should add up. My marketing person told me that, so I don't necessarily trust her. She's not a math person, but we have now almost 100 employees. It's grown substantially over the last couple of years. Thanks to Trump's new tax laws, growing even more at this point in time because everybody's totally confused and so nobody knows what to do. We do have three distinct practices in our field. We have a public entity group, which really deals with public entities like school boards, police, fire. They do a lot of audit work for those types of organizations. We also have a tax group that does what you would think, kind of traditional tax stuff on the corporate side as well as the personal side. And then we have an audit group. So that's Steve actually works in the audit group for us. We audit pension plans, various other financials for different types of companies and whatnot. I think if you have questions, Steve can kind of answer that for you. So of that, our public entity group is at about 50% of our revenue, taxes is about 25, and commercial audit is about 25 as well. Okay. So one of the things that Steve and I were just talking about, and I would encourage you to talk to him too. The company is going through a kind of I would say, a technological revolution, if you will. We're really starting to imbue a lot of new technology. I'm fairly new with the company. I started in August. I came out of the outside world. I'd never worked in a partnership or a accounting firm before. I was kind of in industry and corporate. In fact, Nisivoccia was one of my vendors. So that's how I actually got the relationship and actually got the job with them ultimately. So what I'm doing in HR is I'm fully automating the HR function, everything from recruiting, so that's kind of important to you guys, right? How do you get a job with an accounting firm? Which when there's 1.7% unemployment in accounting, it's not too hard right now to get a job. So people are really looking hard for it. But all the way through, we call it cradle to grave, right? All the way through to the end when you terminate employment, whether it's through leaving the company, retiring, whatever it might have to be, we're trying to make that all automated, which today is all paper. And I think as Steve was saying, a lot of this is also going on the accounting side. So again, I encourage you to ask questions to him and to Justin kind of about what we're doing there. So our firm is located in Mount Arlington, New Jersey. We are likely the largest accounting firm west of 287. Haven't really looked at it too much, but I think we kind of are. I can kind of say that. East is a little bit different, so that's your big guys out that way. So we are, you could say a mid-sized type accounting firm where we're at. So as such, I think we come with some strengths and obviously some weaknesses too, but with our strengths. We don't, our typical work week, say is 37.5 hours on a normal basis. During up times, like tax season right now, you're looking at about 50 to 55, maybe 60 towards the end, okay? We have much more of a family mentality. In fact, our founder comes to the office. He's 80 years old, and he comes in every day with a tie, old school. Fortunately, that dress code has changed, and we don't have to wear ties to work anymore. I'm not sure I would be working there. But it's definitely kind of a different feel, I think, from some of the larger type firms. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for as an individual. What do you want? What do you need? We do a lot of professional development in-house. We encourage you and incent you to get your CPA. We do have educational reimbursement to get your 150, if that's what you're interested in doing. You can kind of get to that point, CPA. I think it's 11 out of our 11 out of our 15 partners started as interns with our company, and then kind of worked their way all the way up. So we're a big believer in growing organically from within. Okay, and we do quite a bit of promotion within for our own people, as long as you're performing and doing the things you need to get done. Okay, so any questions around the HR, around Nisivoccia, or how to spell it? I mean, how to say it. What does it mean? All kinds of. Before I get the guys to introduce them and have them tell their story to you. Nothing? Everybody okay for right now? And I'll come back at the end and kind of go through a little more of HR stuff and kind of how to get a job with an accounting firm and all. So, okay. All right, Steve, you want to kick us off?
Sure. I'm Steve. I've worked here 7 years. This was my first job out of college. I think I got the job in November, graduated in December. I did the 150 program here, which I highly recommend. That was just 4.5 years. It was awesome. It was quick. So yeah, I've been here ever since. Commercial audit. We do commercial entities, 401k plans, pension plans, large nonprofit practice, construction, real estate, or like one of our big commercial industries. I think it's an interesting time to be in the accounting profession. Like, you're seeing a lot of automation changes, and like everyone's talking about blockchain. No one really knows what it is, but I think in the next few years we'll find out. Maybe not even a few, maybe 2 or 3. I don't know, but I definitely think we're adapting and doing research, trying to stay ahead of the technology curve, because I think you have to. But I think like our generation, the younger generation, are definitely going to shape like accounting. Most departments look to the younger generations, what kind of new software can learn from them to make something easy, like engagement letters. Like everyone's talking like blockchain engagement, very smart contracts, where like they like self-audit and everyone agrees to it. And there's like no questions, is that the real signature or is it not? Anybody have questions for me?
So you're an auditor, right?
Yes.
What's something that you wish you knew, or like a skill you had, if you could start over at the beginning of your career again?
I wish I got my CPA before I started working. Definitely the biggest thing. I mean, I'm studying for it now, and working full time and studying it every night is terrible. I'm not gonna lie, that's terrible. That's like my biggest regret. I'd say like technology, making sure you're good at Excel is like a big one. We use a lot of Excel, pivot tables, things like that. How you can manipulate large amounts of data quickly. Yeah. Anyone else?
Do you guys handle any like fraud?
I've done agreed upon procedures for like fraud investigations. There's a company like the one I'm thinking of. This company, they weren't sure what check. They had a bunch of checks and they weren't sure if they were all cashed. Did they go into like the employee's account or did they go into our account? So it was kind of just like verifying that they went in there. And ultimately, they were all in there. Okay. They kind of got nervous because they found a bunch of checks that weren't cashed.
Right.
But it was just something got busy with this one.
But as a firm, we've done, quite a few audit. In fact, we've got some. I think Bob is actually certified.
Yeah, we have some partners and some managers that are certified fraud examiners.
Yeah.
So we definitely do dabble in it.
Cool. All right.
It's
not a huge part of our business, but
yeah, and it's not as cool as you might think that it is. Because one of the hardest things is having to tell a client, hey, guess what? That treasurer who you think is really great is not.
Right.
It's stealing from you, and that's tough because you built a relationship with these people and you get to know them as individuals. It's only if you brought in kind of cold, to do it. But typically, it's not. You're inside because you know what the work is and all. So it's
not a fun conversation.
No.
And then you see the people; they're devastated, and it's their life is now done.
Right.
At that point in time, but it's an important element. It's an important control factor.
It's interesting on the low end, like on the high end. If you're like a manager, the fraud examinations are interesting. Like on the low end, it's a lot of like data analysis.
Right. Yeah.
Looking at checks. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I had a question.
Sure.
Did you just major in accounting, or did you major in like finance or another business major?
I was just accounting. I don't know, when I went here, the 150 program, like, I didn't really make a schedule. It was kind of told to me. It's like, can I show up here? Like, I don't know if it changed, if you guys have electives now, or?
It's still possible to do 4.5 years, but now we really say the 4+1. And
Okay.
so there's a little bit more when you're doing 4+1. You have a little bit more room. You're not trying to do everything in 4.5 years.
Right. Yeah, the
But
4.5.
we'd like you to, if people want to, we have a couple of people who will still go through it 4.5.
Okay. Is it still all at TNAC? A lot of it?
There's TNEC. I don't know if Professor McGregor might be able to. I think the bigger group is at this campus. Then probably 2 to 1. Would you say 2 to 1?
Yeah, about
It's
2 to 1.
Larger, 2 here to everyone there.
Oh, nice. Okay. Any other questions for me?
You can go first.
No, go ahead. All right, yeah, go ahead.
How did you find yourself in audit over tax?
I guess when I started looking, like everyone told me, like if you start an audit, you kind of get a general understanding of how the accounting cycle works a lot quicker than you would in tax. And I don't like being in the office every day. I'd rather go to clients, and I'd say I'm in the office 20% of the time. So I like being out meeting people, different people every week or two. So that was just a plus for me, so I just stuck with it.
One of the things we struggle with a little bit is the cross-training, right? And so when they've got some downtime, do you take them over to the tax side, and the tax side downtime on the audit side too? So there's some philosophy around that in our firm that's starting to be kind of developed in terms of how do you cross-train better, to try to better utilize talents, and also I think it gives you a better sense of different things too.
Right. Like I'll do some tax returns, like it might be like a high-level review, just because I might, just, if you did the audit, you might the client way better than someone who's just doing a tax return. But some, not a whole lot.
Why don't you give them a typical day in the life of an auditor, kind of how you get into an engagement, what you do, and kind of what it is.
Sure. So we should pretty much start out doing like planning. After like the engagement letter's been established with a fee and all that, we do like planning. We come up with a risk assessment. We have like a fraud meeting, materiality levels. We come out. We get a bunch of information from the client, and like we'll usually get all that ahead of time before we go out there, so we can send them a bunch of selections. So we're not just giving them selections and saying, yeah, where's that? It usually takes them time to get. And then we'll go do field work for usually, depending on the size of the client, like a week, maybe 2 weeks. And then we'll go back to the office, write financial statements, kind of wrap it up, binder gets reviewed, and then the client gets an end product.
What's the fraud meeting?
Oh, it's like, where might you identify fraud? Like, do you have, like as a CFO, did he have a major life event? Does he have a reason to steal? Something like that, maybe?
So do you look at the fraud triangle? Do you actually refer to that?
I mean, it's not in like a triangle format, but like we I don't know, we just implemented some software called, have you ever heard of it, Knowledge Coach? CCH makes it. So it kind of, it like walks you through the audit with the audit programs and fraud meetings and like what could go wrong. You had a cash account and only one person was signing checks. What could go wrong there? It's like those are kind of things we look at like in a fraud meeting. Like where should the staff like focus their time on? Because there might be a risk that something could happen there.
Remember, a lot of these companies are entrepreneurs, right? They started out as entrepreneurs, as sole proprietors, and they kind of grew themselves. So they don't necessarily think through some of these things because, well, I hired Frank, and he and I, he's been with me, for 20 years. He would never steal from me. So there's a I'll use the word naivety to a certain degree, but it's really a lack of understanding or comprehension as to what could ultimately occur. So it's hard sometimes to educate these people on, exactly what needs to actually happen, because they don't necessarily value. Sometimes they think, well, you're just trying to bill us more. Well, no, we're trying to make sure that everything is proper. And it's almost like life insurance, right? People complain about life insurance because they're living. It's like, well, yeah, but if you had died, it would have been okay, So people complain about an audit when it's clean. They're like, well, if it was clean, I wouldn't have hired you guys. Yeah, but now it's clean, so it's good, So it's, it's sometimes you can't win for winning at these things either. So,
like I'd say, one of the big areas we talk about, like in a fraud meeting, is like if you have debt and there's a covenant. Might you inflate something to meet that covenant if you were not very successful? Yeah, you might. So that'd be like a big risk.
So it's part of your risk assessment
Right.
process, right?
That too. It's all like done that way. We talk about all that.
Kind of a question for the both of you. So as an auditor, what's the greatest challenge you face in your job? And as an HR rep, what's the greatest challenge you see most of your employees face out of your firm?
Greatest challenge.
Hardest part of the job, so
Hardest part.
Dealing with HR, obviously.
That's definitely going to John's office is the hardest thing ever. I'm just kidding. But I'd say I think the hardest part is like setting up the audit as far as like getting information from the client, because they have all sorts of accounting, from QuickBooks to Microsoft Dynamics, you name it, Sage. So I'd say the hardest part is getting data in a format that I can work with it. And I'm not sitting there doing data. I don't want to do data entry. It's boring. Nobody wants to do that. So I think that that's the hardest part. And I think the time we're in now, it's going to be solved like soon. I think.
Yeah, I mean, automation is going to take data entry and some of those base level things out. It's just not going to be there anymore. So that will allow you to achieve a higher level in terms of strategic thinking, but you have to be prepared for that, because if you think you're just going to go in there and just do data entry the whole time and kind of get away with it, that's not going to be there. We're literally about to start an outsourced accounting service practice where basically everything is done via QuickBook, Bill.com, and other things. And it really, nobody's putting anything into anything. People are reviewing it and looking at it, maybe checking off saying, yeah, prove that. But there is no actual, entries. Credit cards are coming through, it's posting, so it's going to be, I mean, we were just talking about this, the next 5 to 7 years, maybe not that long.
Maybe not even that long.
It's going to be, really totally different in the accounting world. I mean, we've got partners who tell us that they literally, used to do the sheet, and they would use in fact, we have the public sector I was telling you about, so they get what's called an RMA. I don't know if you've heard that term or not. I don't even know what it stands for.
Registered Municipal Accountant.
Okay, so it's a CPA, but it's an RMA for public accounting. They still use pencil and paper to do this test. So like those days are so far gone. Like it's so far to the extreme now. Where, like I said, well, look at when you deposit checks. You just take pictures of them now, and it goes right into the system. You're not even processing checks anymore. So that's going. But let me address your question. So, and I hope nobody takes offense to this, because I know the generation we're talking about here. But I think the biggest struggle for HR, it is a twofold struggle, and I'll talk about both of them. One is managing expectations as millennials. Okay, you're not going to be a partner after the first year. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you right now. And in fact, we've actually implemented in our firm what I call fake steps. So there's a staff accountant, semi-accountant.
Yeah, it goes staff, semi-senior, senior, supervisor, manager, principal, partner.
Yeah. So they threw in that semi to try to help people to kind of feel like they're moving forward quickly. I get it. I really do. I know you guys are in a rush. I know you guys are smart. You're good. I get all that stuff. But you got to manage expectations. You got to get a CPA. In our firm, you only go to a certain level, and it's probably true in most firms. You only go to a certain level, and then you're done. All right. So you got to have a CPA to get past that. You have to have experience. I mean, you're dealing with clients. I mean, we've got clients that make $2, $3, $4 million a year. I mean, these guys are serious players out there. So you've got to get experience in how to deal with these types of people, how to deliver bad news to them, how to tell them that, hey, I understand that you don't want to pay taxes, but guess what? Uncle Sam wants you to, so you're going to be doing this, So I think managing those expectations is tough, and I think you've got to come out understanding that you've got to do certain things in order to achieve certain things in your career as well. It's not just going to be kind of given to you and handed to you. All that being said, the other side of that coin is it's difficult managing the partners down, because they look at, again, the guys who were filling it out on paper, it's well, when I was their age, I did that, and I'm like, I get that, but they don't do that anymore. They don't do hand paper stuff. It's all automated, type of stuff. They can work from home because we have technology now that can. We were just laughing yesterday. We didn't close our office till 4 o'clock, and that was because I went to the partner's office and said, come on, you got to let these guys go home. I mean, it's icing out there, no, who needs to leave, I said, they can work from home. We have the ability to do that now, I mean, I laugh about that, but there's some truth to it, right? Too, you know. I told you about our owner. He was in yesterday morning, but it was snowing, and he walked around to make sure other people were there. So it's managing that down as well, and trying to say, hey, times have changed as well. And I think the generation gap, I think is much larger today than I think that ever was in the workforce. I don't know about private life, but in the workforce, because of technology. I mean, you know, there are people who are in our upper stratosphere who really don't. I mean, they have iPhones, they have some of that stuff, but they don't really know how to. Like we were just laughing before. So we order dinner now every night for people when they're working late in the tax season. How do we do it? We send out an email. Who's going to be here for dinner tonight? And then all these emails come back into, you know, one person. I'm like, there's got to be an app that you can just say, here's the sign-up sheet, put it in there, and it's done, you know. But a lot of the partners say, what are you talking about? I just need to tell Sharon, and she'll take care of it for me. Like, yeah, but that's not the way it is. So it's managing both sides, and the expectations of both sides, I think, are kind of the biggest challenge right now. And I think, you know, when you get out there in the workforce, don't get frustrated with the partners. I mean, it's, you know, they lived a life, right? So they feel like, hey, I've done 40 years in accounting, and I know accounting, and they do. What I would tell them is, yeah, but all your knowledge is kind of outdated now because they've just changed all the tax laws. So it's, you know, you got to stay up with it too. And the technology is just changing things and driving things so differently. So does that answer your question a little bit?
Very much so.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, I'd say like the biggest thing is don't be afraid to like tell partners you want new software or something and research it. I mean, that's how we just got new software. We pushed it to the partners and they were like, oh, fine. Let's give it a try. It's working out.
Because remember, in a partnership, it's it's their money, right? So that's something to kind of also in your back of your mind just kind of remember. In a corporation, it's typically, you know, stockholders or the public's money is partnering in. In a partnership like ours, we've got 15 partners. It's their money. I mean, they're the ones who are investing in the company. They're the ones who are paying the checks. I mean, there's no outside money. It's coming out of their pockets. So anytime anything's done, it has to come out of their pockets to do it. So I think Steve made a good point. Don't just complain about stuff or say, you know, whatever. Bring them a solution. Say, hey, we can save you money by doing this, or we can become more efficient, and our utilization and our realization can go up if we do this. That's the way to sell to these guys or these women, you know, whatever it is, these people. Don't just always sit there saying, I wish we had this, I wish we had that. It's like, okay, wish is not going to happen. Here's software. Here's what's going to save us. It's going to make us more efficient. They'll buy into it, you know, because it's their money.
They've been very receptive. I'm very fortunate because, like, this whole blockchain thing. So now we're starting to I'm going to conferences, Vegas, Denver, to figure out like, what that is and how is that going to affect us and how soon. So they're willing to put the money into do research and do events. It's very good.
Have you noticed a change in data analytics over the 7 years? How you're using it, or?
Not real. I think it's coming like right now. Like that's our next big initiative is to look at some software that does like data analytics versus us preparing it manually. So I think it's coming. We just didn't jump on it yet.
Do you find everything is translatable into XBRL format then? Is that what you're moving when you said there's going to be? I know for public, okay, then it's not. For the SEC side, everything is basically in XBRL format, so I was just wondering, because you have different systems, you were talking about client systems that were different. I wondered if it was the common format was being XBRL, but it's not so.
Yeah, we don't do any public companies, so we're only private, no public. That's like a whole nother PCOB, whole other end. So we're privately held companies.
Why did the firm make that decision to not do?
I don't think it's really us making it. It's just they like the big, you know, the big names.
Insurance.
Yeah.
You have to do a ton to make money.
Yeah.
The risk is just huge. And then to be like you only have 100 employees, one of those firms to get those jobs is tough.
Yeah, they absorb a lot. You know, you need to be able to have a lot of people on staff or on team. You know, we just don't have that. Yeah, they made a conscious decision to stay away from public companies.
Yeah, I know we've had opportunities come our way. It's just we won't go there. Yeah. Because then you take on whole sorts of we go through peer review. If you are public companies, you go through PCAOB peer review. what I heard, it's a whole nother set of regulations. Anything else?
Have you audited a nonprofit? Does your firm do
Yeah,
that?
we have a big nonprofit practice. Probably half of our commercial department, audit department's nonprofit, I'd say.
Do you-
Anything from a small nonprofit making 500,000 to I have one nonprofit that does 25 million.
Do you find, like, because you know they don't pay taxes, that the audits for nonprofits are less intense than they are for a different?
Actually, funny you say that. They're more intense. 'Cause
Really?
There's a ton of compliance requirements. You have to comply with all the government single audit standards, and there's just way more.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that.
Who do you typically audit? Like, which companies do you audit the most?
So, I do a lot of like IT and say manufacturing. We have some people in our office who do real estate. But probably our three areas are IT, manufacturing, and real estate, like as far as our commercial for-profit clients go. You have a question?
So I guess what you as an auditor, do you and other auditors have an opportunity to kind of like niche yourselves, I guess? Like, oh, I'm really good at auditing tech firms, I'm really good at auditing.
Yeah, that's usually what, like after the first like 3 years, I'd say that's kind of what happened. Like, I mean, it just kind of, after 3 years, you can kind of decide like which route you want to go. And you know, when they're doing scheduling, like kind of ask, like, hey, I want to go down this route. And just, oh, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Steve. So, well, Justin, I know some of his peers are in the classroom too, but I just wanted you guys to get a sense of, you know, what he did coming out of college in order to get kind of the internship with us, and I thought it would be helpful to you. He's done a great job with us. I feel bad for him because he kind of came at a time when the office was expanding by about, I guess, 3,000 square feet. And as always happens, any intern around is like, okay, come on, you're with me, we're moving stuff. Let's go get talking. So he moved all the public entity books. He can tell you all about that. He moved, I think. So he's had a wide berth of experience with us here. So anyway, you want to just get up and tell him a little bit about your experiences and what you kind of went through.
So my name's Justin. I just graduated here in May, and I just started with them in November. It's been a great experience so far. I applied to a lot of different jobs after graduating. I applied to, on Indeed alone, I think it was like 70 something, and I was, you know, someone would call, I'd go on interviews and try to determine things that I wanted or didn't want, and saw things in interviews that I liked or didn't like. I saw Nisivoccia. Audit was always something that interests me, actually, ever since I took Professor Guy's class.
What do you get in that class, by the way? I don't know.
Good grade.
Okay.
Yeah, the transcript's right.
But I think one thing that I like a lot about audit is being able to experience a lot of different types of clients. Like he was just saying that a lot of the clients, I see that a lot of people who've been there for a while kind of niche themselves into certain areas. While just starting, I'm kind of working with everybody on everything. So you really get a wide range of different clients, a wide range of experiences, going different places. So it's a good experience.
How many clients are you working on now?
Probably 5 or 6.
Kind of. Some clients I'll be more involved in than others. Sometimes I'll help out with just writing engagement letters for one client and then not do anything for them again for a while. Or I'll be going out on clients. Today I was actually supposed to be out of the office all week this week, and because of the weather, I was in the office today. But so right now, 2, 3, 4.
So you quickly ramp up, you know, like that. Because you want different things also.
Yes.
Are you studying for your CPA right now?
Not yet. I have to. I'm gonna go do grad school first. So still, I didn't do the 4+1. I wish I did. So if you're not, and you still have the opportunity, you should. So I will be soon. Yes.
Justin, where do you typically audit your clients? Like, what states do you usually go to when you audit them?
States?
Yeah.
We, I don't know if we have very many outside of New Jersey. Everything so far that I've been to is northern New Jersey.
A lot is New Jersey. We have a Florida client. We have a few clients here and there, but mostly New Jersey.
Okay. Salt Lake City, right?
Yeah.
From being such a recent graduate, which class of the accounting classes or actually whatever classes do you think you took the most out of?
That's a good one. I think because I went to audit, I think auditing would probably have been the most beneficial class that I could have taken experiences out of. It's funny, I remember thinking about engagement letters and probably like the audit process, and I remember thinking maybe engagement letters weren't maybe as important as they are, but I mean it's probably like it's a massive part of audit. The planning process is way more important and involved than I'd originally expected. Yes.
So when did you know that you wanted to go into audit?
To be honest, I don't know if I ever really knew. I kind of had to just pick a direction. Audit was the most interesting to me, and then as soon as I got the opportunity, it was something I wanted to jump into. But leaving college, I think, well, I always leaned more toward audit than tax, and I probably realized that pretty early on in school.
So did you have any internships with anything else, or was it all just audit?
This is actually my first accounting internship. I had a finance internship and decided that, my degree, I went to school for accounting, and I decided that that's really what I wanted to steer more toward. But I made that decision also after college.
See, Nick, do you have any questions? I feel bad we kind of forget you sometimes. You guys have any questions up there?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
Yes.
Was there anything that when transitioning from schoolwork to actually working at the position that you're currently in, is there anything that you had to learn quickly as you made that transition?
I think
You can't go out every night to drink.
it was definitely more involved, I feel, than when I was in school. In school, it was actually a little less work. I mean, I would do my work at different times, but it takes a lot out of you, especially now the busy season starting, tax season. It takes a lot out of you, and I think it's more involved of a life than it was when I was just in school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
You said you were looking around for a while. So why did you choose Nisivoccia? I'm not saying.
Oh, that's right. Nobody does. We don't even say it right.
So because I really liked audit, and this was an audit opportunity, that was the first thing that really drew me to it. But I think that the fact that it was a mid-sized firm, I had always known that I didn't want to work in a Big Four or something like that. So I think the mid-sized firm, it's very family-oriented. They're very, it's like a family. They're very helpful, and I mean, even the departments. I mean, everybody knows everybody. It's very, it's a very friendly place. So I think that's one of the biggest things that drew me toward.
You sit right outside three partners' offices too, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's no separation really. It's right there.
It's very the partner. So being an intern and the partner level, it's very. I mean, I sit next to one of the partners, and you see them all day, every day. It's very open. You can talk to anybody. It's a very open environment.
It wasn't a punishment we put them there, by the way. All right. Well, this will be. I just want to say a couple of things, and then we can. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it. Sandy, if you have questions, just push the button or say, "Hey, stop!" All right, and I'll get that done for you. So I just want to kind of look at this from an HR perspective, okay, a little bit, because I think that's the end goal of everybody here is to get a job, right? Is to actually make some money and kind of get out in life. And so, what should I do, or where should I go, or what should? So I'd encourage you to do a couple of things. I think Justin touched on it a little bit. I think you've asked the question. I think it's a very good question. take a couple of different types of internships if you have time. I know you're all in different levels and different classes and whatever else. Some may have time, some may not. But take an internship with the Big Four. Take an internship with a small firm, sole proprietor even, or a very small firm, a mid-sized firm like ours. I mean, try some different things. Try tax, try audit, try public accounting. I mean, a lot of people, it's funny, and no offense to any of the professors in the room, but public accounting really doesn't get much play in the academic world. It's a nice career. I mean, it's very solid. It's probably not as sexy as tax, I guess, or as what, I don't know what it is, but it's a very solid career. It's not easy. Again, you need to get an RMA at some point in time if you really want to get to the a partner level there.
So you're really saying municipal accounting?
Municipal accounting, yeah, exactly. Municipal accounting, so school boards and those types of things. Don't dismiss it. Sometimes it's kind of a lost. Some of the partners laugh about it. They say, "Well, how did you get into public accounting?" They go, "I didn't. It got chosen. I was told that's an open seat. Go sit there, and you're going to be in this group here." And they said, "We skipped it in college. We didn't. That chapter is pushed aside." But try different things. I mean, that's what internships are meant to do and are meant to be, is to try some different things and see what you do like. You heard Justin and Steve, I think, same thing. The Big Four wasn't kind of the world that they were looking for. Doesn't mean it's a bad world, it's just a different world, right? I mean, it is a world, I mean, you've got friends, you've got people in the industry, they work hard. I mean, they work a lot of hours, but there's also a financial reward on the other side. So there's positives and negatives there. We don't work as many hours, but these guys get paid for every hour that they work. That's not necessarily true at some of the other firms. So you got to ask some questions, see what it is. Don't dismiss one or the other until you kind of at least go and talk to them and do. It's not a commercial for the Big Four or for us. I mean, obviously we believe in kind of that small, mid-sized firm feeling, but that's because that's what we like to do. If you really want, kind of traveling, you were asking what states do you go in. If you really want to travel, the United States, I mean, we're not the firm for you. That's really what you want to do. And that's great. There's people that want to do that. They want to go to Ohio for 4 weeks and then go to Chicago for 6 weeks and go where. That's great, particularly when you're young and, maybe don't have any responsibilities, go and try that, go and do that. But just understand what you're getting yourself into, as well. And that's why I say I think sometimes, again, I'm an HR person, so I know, some of the materials that they put together, some of the stories that they spin, some of the things that they tell you, just be careful. Ask some questions and ask some peers and people who are in there, what's it all about? On both sides, us as well. I mean, our firm isn't Goldilocks. I mean, like I just told you, they didn't let us out for snow yesterday. They're family, but they only go so far. It's like you still got a bill. You still need money. But we've got some positives and things that are good. In a small to mid-sized firm. So as an HR person, what do I want to see? Right? I want to see a resume that shows that you were an accounting major. We do have. I think Mike Smith was a finance guy. I'm not sure how he snuck in the door, but somehow he got in the door. Typically, we need, for an internship, I'm going to want to see accounting classes at least, whether or not you're a declared major, at least see some accounting classes. Tax season, if you want to do tax, typically we do that in kind of September, October. We start looking for interns, for that. We require you to work 30 hours a week, so that can be kind of tough with a schedule as well, so kind of be prepared, for that. We will let you work a Saturday, so you can take a Saturday to do 8 or 10 hours of that 30 if you want to. But as you're looking at your class schedule, build your class schedule so you can be available for 2 or 3 days during the week. It's not easy, because then you got